there, it's me again, Shannon. I wanted to take you through how to use some of the stuff that came in your kit. So I'm going to go ahead and make myself a topper. I just switched from Ella to Wanda. So now I'm having to make my favorite toppers in Wanda. Go ahead and open that up. Stubborn. Put the little lid on. This is the resin that you get. What does it say? 15 grams. Should be enough for two. So I'm going to go ahead and fill my little cup up. Not fill it, but I don't know. That's pretty good. A little less than half probably is good. If you can see that. I'm going to go ahead and make my candy corn topper since Halloween is coming. My first one, the one that you can see in my shop when I have it, is clear. But I'm going to go ahead and use some of this glow in the dark powder and make a different one for myself. This orange glow in the dark powder. Let's make sure it actually glows in the dark. Yeah, it does. Good. Good, good, good. So I'll use this to put a little bit of this. I'll use my little plastic thing. Put a little bit of that in there. But really, you don't need much. You don't need much of anything, really. Especially the mica powders. You literally, I mean, just a drop is enough. Stir it up real good. I'm going to go ahead and add this little baggie of confetti. Not confetti, but glitter. Eh, that might have been too much, but that's okay. I'd say maybe use half the bag, not the whole bag. I'm just going to fill up my little mold here. I'm going to try at least, since I made this so dang thick. Which I really should have been better about. Normally I can just pour it right in without a problem. I feel very stupid for doing that. But you know, if you have a thick substance, you can spread it in like I'm doing now. Works just as well. Although you will have the problem of air bubbles when you do it like this. Yeah, spilled. That's okay. I'm gonna try to scrape it out here. So use that up. Now I'm gonna go ahead and use this to kind of try to spread it out a bit. Fill it all in. Try to avoid getting any bubbles in there, bubble holes. Although if we do, we can fix them later. Not a big deal. I'm gonna go ahead and scrape the top here, make it all as uniform as I can. And I'll just kind of mess with it a little bit and make sure it's where I want it to be. And that's okay. I mean, if you really, really mess up, you can just UV it and then pull it out, throw it away, and start over. I like to make sure all of my glitter is where I want it to be though. Okay. Get back. That looks pretty good to me. So now I'm going to show you how to place the magnets. So I use one of my original toppers. It helps me to kind of figure out the best place to place them. And I use tape to hold them down while it's curing. So I don't know if you could see that, but I went ahead and put that magnet on there. I put it on there. Still have 2 magnets left. And now that they're in the back where I want them to be, because this is also going to be the back, I get some tape. And then I kind of line it up with the edge, because then that kind of tells me just how far it should be away from the edge. Because you need to have the magnets good for them to sit correctly. I'll put that in there. Same thing on this side. Kind of line it up with this bottom edge right here. Then I will put that in. And I have a curing box that I use. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in there to cure. While I wait for that to cure, I will clean up a little bit. I could either use my UV light on that and just, peel it off, or I could use a little alcohol, which is what I'm going to do right now because I want to clean this little stick off and reuse it. I try not to be wasteful whenever possible. I'll kind of swipe this up a little bit. Might leave some of the glitter behind, but that's okay. We can get that with some tape later. Nice little clean. Take the trash and throw it away. I'm going to go ahead and fold this over and save it because I will want to clean off my little plastic stirrer. Grab a little tape to take care of the glitter that's left behind. Oh, isn't that beautiful? It comes right off that mat. No problems. And the mat's all clean and ready to go again. I like to always I always have a set of toppers for each frame style, because then I can make sure that I get the magnets in the right place and then it lines up correctly, etc., etc., etc. Plus, I don't know if you can tell, these are slightly curved, so when I go in for the second curing, when I put the top coating on, I will cure it I get these little sheets from the dollar store. They are like to put between hamburgers when you freeze them so they don't stick together. I fold them in half. I throw the original in there, and then I put the new one on top, and the magnets hold it together. That way, as it cures, it forms over the original topper, so you hopefully get that same slightly rounded um, shape. I cure mine for about, I don't know, about 3 minutes, 2.5, 3 minutes in my little box, but I also use this little light thing too sometimes. I've been working on some cute little keychains lately. I don't know if you can see these. Uh, little Mickey Mouse ear keychains. Got some little bats. That glows in the dark. That glows in the dark. Some little fall leaves. I'm probably going to be offering these in my store. I'm not sure how much for. As it is right now, I'm just kind of putting a little extra resin in when I make a topper so that I can go ahead and make a little keychain, a zipper pull keychain. I will probably I'll probably attach mine to my lanyard when I go to Disney, when the one I put my pins on, and that'll be good. I was just thinking, you know what? I should totally make one right now for this stuff, which is just really cool. I really love the way this came out. I don't know if I have enough though. Let's see if I can scrape it out enough to get it to fill up. I don't think so. That's while I'm waiting for, I'm trying to get all the clear out. You know, sometimes you'll think, oh, I don't have enough. But if you can get a very small layer along the bottom, you can always fill it up with clear later and make it thick, you know? I'm just going to spread this around a little bit. See if I can get some of it down in here. It's really cute. I like this one. My little candy corn. I don't know why people don't like candy corn. I love candy corn. It's scrumptious, delicious. There's probably people out there now going like, oh, I can't buy anything from her anymore because candy corn's so disgusting. I've almost lost friendships over this, you know. It's like it's as bad as pineapple on pizza, which I also love. There we go. That looks pretty good. I think I can do that. I'm going to go ahead and set that over here and put my light on it. I'm going to pull this out. Feels good. I'm going to peel the tape off. And I think I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more of the clear resin because I made it so thick. So thick. Which was kind of dumb. I'm going to add just a little bit more here. Make sure that everything's filled in. It needs to be thick enough to not fall apart when I take it out. You know, a lot of this is just trial and error. Um, I've been doing it for a little while, so I've kind of figured out what works for me and what doesn't. But what works for me may not be what works for you, and that's okay. So I'm going to pop that in again for just a little bit. This is how I usually work. I'm usually doing a whole bunch of stuff at once. Now this is finished. I'm going to turn it over so that I can make sure that it cures on the underside because once again, you've got UV resin, and if the light cannot penetrate, it's not going to cure. So you really need to make sure you don't make uh, your concoctions too thick. When you're using mica powder, you just need a dab. I mean a dab, and it works really well. And I've had this mica powder that I use these little envelopes of mica powder. I think I got these for free, but I've had them for over a year, and I mean it's still full because I just use a little tiny dab every time because that UV light needs to be able to penetrate, or else you're not going to have a full cure. Um, Also, if you put too much of anything, glitter, mica powder, whatever, in there, it will become very soft And then it's, you know, it's not good because you don't want it bending and everything on your toppers, on your face, you know, you don't want to drop them and have them bend and break or whatever. Now I like to smooth it off on the top. Make sure wipe it off in the little cup. Here again. I don't know if that's going to glow in the dark because not too much of the actual powder is in that one. This one may not even glow in the dark that much because I didn't, you know, the glow in the dark powders are very grainy, almost like a very fine sand. And although it doesn't mix with the clear resin the same way the mica powders will, once again, if you use too much, you're changing like the molecular structure of the UV resin. You know, just like when you are cooking and you put too much milk or you put too much water or too much flour, it's just not going to turn out the way you want it to. This should be good. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and unmold it. Feels good, yeah. Yeah. I'm going to pull it out. I like to put it face down and pull my mold away from it very gently. You see all that excess on the bottom there. And I'll show you how I clean my mold. I will just grab a little tape and we get all the extras off, and my mold is clean and ready to go again. Very nice. Tape is a wonderful thing when you're working with UV resin. Alright, this one's done too. Pull that one right out. Look at how cute that turned out. Oh my gosh. I'm going to set that aside. And let's see. Are we good? Are we good? I think I'm going to stick this back in the cooker for a second in my little UV box just to make sure because I don't want to start messing with it if it's not done. I like to work in small increments because you can't really mess it up. You can put too much time, but you can't put too little time, if that makes sense. I use my little cuticle cutters to trim excess around the edges because you're always going to have excess. Nobody makes a perfect pour, especially not on their first time. I rarely make a perfect pour. So I will trim off the little excesses and I will hit it with my little sander a little bit. This turned out really freaking cute. I think this is going to be mine. And I'm going to put it on my keychain. That's good enough. Again, a little tape. Clean it up. I like to clean as I go. I think it works better that way. So we're just waiting, you know, for the thing to be done. I'm gonna have to drill that hole out a bit too. It came out cute though. I'm really pleased with that. I'm gonna have to make more of those. That should be good. So this is all pretty thin because I kind of spread over it so I can just pull it off with my fingers. Yeah, that works. Sometimes it's thicker, and you need to use the clippers. Sometimes it's easy. You can just do it with your hands, which is always nice. Less work. Well, I don't know. It's less work, but it's almost like I made sunglasses. Too bad you can't see through it. start doing like some colored lenses, but it wouldn't be clear enough. Interesting, I put so much glitter in there. Some of it actually looks like little goldfish scales. It's kind of a cool effect, actually. And, you know, you're going to be using your kit, and this is going to be you too. You're just going to mess with stuff a little bit, and it's going to be like, oh, I didn't like that. And then you're going to throw it together and think, oh, this isn't going to work. And then you're going to look at it, and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, that came out so cool. It's all trial and error. This also, it does dull your cuticle cutter, so I have a pair that's especially for this, because they're not good as cuticle cutters anymore after you've used them this way. But they last a long time. Alright, there we go. I think that turned out pretty cool, actually. Let's go ahead and clean up those edges. I see a lot of little air bubbles in this on the top that I'm probably going to have to fix. And some parts that are just sticking out that I'll have to take care of too, just in the interest of keeping it uniform. I have to say, making these videos does not come naturally to me. I do not like the sound of my own voice at all. Definitely don't want people to see my face. Let's just say I won't be winning any beauty contests anytime soon. And I am not a big makeup person, so I'm also not going to be sitting there and doing 3 hours of makeup to make, you know, these 15-20 minute videos. It's coming out pretty good. I was thinking maybe I should add in like a nail file to the kits. You know, because you're gonna have little spots that you need to deal with. And if like a regular manual nail file will work. It's what I started with before I got this. Oh, that's pretty good. Now, normally what I'm gonna do real quick is I'm gonna go and wash it with some dish soap and water to get off all the little bits and pieces that I just left behind, because that's not good. And I'll clean my mat here a little bit because there's no point in cleaning it all up just to sit back in it. Typically, I will do this outside if I have more than one I'm working on. One's not too bad. But yeah, you do it outside because it's very messy. Anyway, I'll be right back.
A few moments later.
There we go, all clean. I can kind of take a look at my work now, figure out what needs to be fixed. So I will I did scrape this out pretty good, so I'm going to go ahead and put another drop in here because I'm going to fill in these little air bubbles. So I take a needle to do that. And let's see, there's a little air bubble there. There's a big one here. Fill in those little air bubbles. Go ahead and cure that real quick. And after, I can then do my, they call it doming, to give it a nice finish, and it hides a lot of imperfections. Some people do it, some people don't. Let's see, I can try to look at it from all angles, catch anything I might have missed. Especially when you're using chunky glitter, you will get little spots that you just didn't even realize were there. And I'll use the light to help me find the little spots that need to be filled in. And I'll give it another little cure. We're almost done. This was a quick, easy one. For my fall leaves one, I placed the leaves myself with these little tweezers, and I cut the leaves by hand when they don't fit. That one's a very time-consuming piece. Seeing the glowing's working kind of well too, so that's good. I think that is good. Yeah. So here we go. Doming. Perfect. Look at it up in the light, make sure it's sitting correctly. Oh, I got a little spot that needed to be dealt with. I try to keep my tools away from the light because I don't want the UV resin sticking to them. So now I'm going to take my little bottle. I'm just going to put just a little line of the resin on top. This gives it a nice finish. It hides imperfections. It also gives it a little bit more strength, especially when you're using a lot of glitter. It still feels pretty, not full, but okay. And then you spread it out, kind of like, I don't know if you've ever done cookies with flooding frosting, flooding consistency frosting. But yeah, you want to just kind of spread it out, make sure it's covering everything. So you get a nice uniform finish. It also, if you have, if you're using mica powder and it's pearly, it'll help bring out the pearl of it. And like right now, it is kind of bringing out some of the glitter, making it look extra glittery. Kind of enhances everything, which is why I do it. I use the light to show me if I've missed any parts. And, you know, because of the consistency of this UV resin, it kind of just settles into a nice uniform top, if that makes sense. I don't have to really do much other than make sure it's covered. Everything's covered. These are turning out very cute. I may end up having to offer these in my store. I think that's pretty good. And I like to take a Q-tip and just go around the edges to make sure that there's no drips, because that'll mess everything up too. And then we pop it back in the, I call it the cooker, but it's like a UV box. I also have a link for that as well on my recommendations page. I'm gonna go ahead and do this now while I wait for that. The lowest setting on this is just perfect for cleaning up edges. I will also end up doming this one. Sometimes I spend a lot of time on shaping and whatnot. Some needs more than others. That was pretty good. And instead of taking it to wash, I will just use some alcohol to clean it. And I'm going to go ahead and dome it. I'm going to refill this bottle. When you're doing the doming, it really doesn't take much. But it's also something that is a little trial and error to figure out exactly how much you need, because too little and it won't cover the whole thing. Too much, you're wasting product and it's hard to cure and it'll come out funky. Once again, just something you kind of got to figure out by doing, such as many things in life. Make sure it gets all the way to the edges. That's a problem sometimes. Alrighty, I'm going to go ahead and cure that. This UV resin does smell. It's not the worst I've had, but it definitely has a smell. Most UV resins do as it's curing. I've kind of gotten used to it. It's not as bad as like walking into a nail salon, but it's definitely there. If you're sensitive, not a bad idea to do it outside, or at least in a well ventilated area. This still feels pretty full. I don't think I may have used half. I was a little worried it wouldn't be enough, but it seems to be okay. Yeah, that's good. I'm going to go ahead and grab one of my little tools so I can make the hole again. It kind of got covered a little bit. Oh, and the other one's done too. I'm going to do this first. Not a pleasant sound. There we go. Pull out one of my little chainies, and I will hang it up with the other one. That came out super cute. I wonder if I could start putting like names on it, little named keychains. That would be cool. Okay. And I believe we are done. So that looks pretty good. That came out pretty good. I don't know if you can see it very well. I'm going to go ahead and take my glasses off, and we'll pop it on. And that came out super cute. I love it. And it's pretty well fit. UV resin, most resin, responds to heat by softening. So one of the things I do when oops, that was not my glasses. One of the things that I do when I am, or when I sell a topper is I put a little card in there that explains if your topper doesn't fit well, just heat it up a little bit. I mean, like hit it with the blow dryer for a few seconds. Too much heat will warp it. It takes very little heat to make it just slightly pliable. So I will tell people go ahead and heat it up a little bit, get it on your topper, kind of spread it out, make sure it's where you want it to be, and then let it cool. And it should fit perfectly. Also, you know, even though I get the good dome to it, you know, the bend that's the natural bend for the glasses, um, in transit, it heats up sometimes. And so when it gets to you, it may be perfectly flat. So you may have to do that no matter what, just because of, you know, it's easily 100 degrees in California. So when I ship them, you know, they sit in hot mail trucks and sit in hot mailboxes until they get out to you. And now we've gone through everything, and if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me. Thanks for watching. Bye.